here is the, should be able to see the EMD chart. I only have one computer up today here, so you can see it, correct?
We can.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So what we mentioned is if you look back on this, we had a high energy time, double asterisk high energy time at 6:30 in the equities, dollar index, and crude. I always like to wait 5 minutes after the pit opens to start it. And the first trade out of the box, unfortunately, got kind of caught in the moment of things and ended up to be a losing trade. Now this first one I'm showing is trading stealth. All right, so the entry on this is the stealth entry. We took a stealth entry here, it got stopped out. And then as the market reversed shortly thereafter, it took another stealth entry and rode this down. And this is if you're trading, for example, one contract with a smaller profit target and then the second one with the bigger one, and I can show, I can compare the two here as well with the two if we want to see that set to the same one. But anyway, caught a nice big move down. The trail stop trailed it pretty nicely. Got into the second trade and gave a little back, and then when we went ahead and spiked back the other way off this run, and we turned to the upside, and it caught basically 1, 2, and then the third long trade, but we got very close to our big green target here, so it went ahead and took it out. This is the type of run that you normally get with big high energy times, double asterisk high energy time. This is the type that we like. We also had mentioned that today we expected roller coaster action. We had mentioned that in the webinar last night, and it's certainly lived up to its expectations, because this certainly is roller coaster action that we're getting here. You know, we opened, we roller coastered down, roller coastered up. Now, you know, we're in consolidation, and as we mentioned, we do have another high double asterisk high energy time at 9:15 today. So if this market is going to continue to do this up until 9:15, that'll be a good sign. However, if it continues to strongly trend up, then you may want to think about skipping that high energy time, because it's been our experience that when you get them double back to back, the second one usually has the energy sucked out of it through the first one. Okay, so that's using stealth. Stealth is one of the ones that we like to use for major reports, for high energy times, because you're basically going with what the stealth entry is. You're taking the stealth entry with the background and the green stealth. So when the background's green, stealth is green, you're going long. When the background's red, stealth is red, you're going short. And that's typically how it takes it. So it's long here, short here, long here. Okay, the second one I'm going to show is on the same chart, but it's going to be breakout. So let me just show that. All right, now we should be able to see breakout. And breakout is a little bit faster type of movement. You can see it made a little bit more money, but this is trading two contracts going for longer runners. But you'll see part of the difference here on breakout is that it goes through various transitions, all right? And whereas the trend overall was up, and if you remember, stealth was only taking long trades up in here, it will tend to flip faster back and forth. So that's both a good thing and a bad thing when it comes to strategies. It's a good thing when you're expecting quick moves back and forth on roller coasters off of high energy times and things like that. It's bad if you get into a long sustained trend like this, you know, because you don't want to be taking trades here. But by and large, because this was a double asterisk high energy time, We had a nice window period in here of 40 to 50 minutes. It's tailor-made for that. So either one of these strategies would have worked well. Stealth probably had a little bit of a less of a head fake here at the beginning, but it's just your tolerance as to what you like to trade. Some people like breakout better, others like stealth better. It's just really up to you as to how you like to approach this. I can show one other method here, and that is, let's try to do this on the fly. What we're going to try to do here is we'll use our long-range trailing stop dots here as our guide. And we're going to be taking both the trend change and perhaps probes and some of the new features. So what we're really going to look for at this point in time is going to be we're going to try to catch the trend change here, kind of try to get maybe a yellow bar probe up here. We're going to try to catch the trend change up here, catch a deep probe here if we can get it, if we're still in the trade. Try to maybe catch another probe here, and of course it would be probing back here. In order to do that, I'm going to have to probably turn off the big green, but let's just take a look at what's going to happen on that. Just bear with me a second while I try to get some settings changed here. Well, while we're doing that, Gary or Charles, if there's any questions that have come up, feel free to try to address those. I can't see the question log right now.
Arjun asking here, Bernanke speaks at 10:15 Pacific. Do we think we're going to get another roller coaster after the second high energy time?
Most definitely.
And Arjun asking here, should they consider using the auto trader after the Bernanke show?
Yeah, same thing, Arjun. It's the same approach that we're looking at here. Same thing. Absolutely. I would turn it on. You can give it 5 minutes right after he talks to start dealing with it. I would absolutely approach it that way. It's a good way to go. Good question. I'm almost ready on this on the changeover. Okay, so this is using the breakout V7A. I just showed the first one using breakout. Now this is the one using the long-term trend here, long-term trend filter. And so basically what you can see is the trend was up, and you know what, let me get rid of this transition background. The reason there's a transition background on here, and Gary showed you this yesterday, is that sometimes when you bring a template up, you've got other indicators on here. I do have the transition background here, but these strategies have their own backgrounds. So I just want to show that. Let me dump this. Hang on a second so it's a little cleaner chart. So that's better. Okay, so now we have it linked up. So you can see the differences here. This was a deep probe trade that it took. This is one of the new additions to the breakout version 7. It took a deep probe trade here, made a little bit of money, took a yellow bar probe here, got stopped out. Okay, we got caught in the trend change. Then it went ahead and took the trend change here, just like we said it did. Took a yellow bar probe here on the trade. All right. Took the trend, attempted to go short off of a deep probe, and then immediately reversed to long. Caught the nice deep probe trade here, beautiful trade here, and actually hit the profit target. Caught the yellow bar probe here, and then again caught one more final one here. And I remember I think either Charles or Gary was saying at this point in time, they were pretty much done with these equities. We talked about there wasn't a need to continue to trade. If you wanted to take the trade, you could. But you see what happens after a series of nice runs like this. We had a nice run here. We hit a profit target. We had another nice run here. Hit a nice move. You can just turn it off at this point in time. You were up over $3,000 in here at this time. So there wasn't a need to take this if you didn't want to.
Rich, not seeing your cursor.
Oh, you're not?
At least I'm not.
Can you see that?
It's not moving.
The cursor's not moving. Are you showing? Am I showing the trade here? It should be up 2580 with
Yes.
the 80. Yeah.
Yeah, the chart is showing.
I don't know why my cursor's here, and I'm watching it move on the chart. For some reason, you're not seeing it.
It's just a hand stuck around 7 a.m. Pacific around the 8:30 level.
You might even try hitting pause and then getting it, clicking it back off. Sometimes that will work.
All right. Can you see it now?
Same thing.
That's strange. I don't know. I mean, I did it. I hit pause and I came back, and so we'll just have to deal with that technology. But I apologize for that. But what I was trying to show, and I can't do it because you're obviously not able to see the hand, is around 7:50 Pacific time. It took this last long trade in here, right? And that trade got stopped out. And what I was trying to point out was at that time your open trade equity was up 3,000. So either turn it off or trim it back to 1. And see, we're consolidating back to the line in the sand now. We're moving back to the line in the sand. We're in consolidation. There's not really a reason to be trading up in here, especially when you get a run like this. I mean, to be up $3,000 basically in a little over an hour. I mean, that's a great goal for the morning, and that's your tip-off that you shouldn't be trading anymore. Or if you're going to, just take one, minimal contract trade, and the first one that gets stopped out, stop trading. So I don't know why the cursor's not moving. But the chart's updating. You're seeing it update, right?
Oh, yeah, the live data's there. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Shows it's in a trade that's upside down a few ticks.
Yeah, that's really strange. Very, very strange. Now, again, I can show, let me just try to show this, what would happen if you set your big green to, say, 3,000. Should take you out up in here someplace. We'll show everybody how to do that again. So, had you been trading at that point in time, you could have come in here, changed your big green setting. You could have set this up to 3,000. You could have activated this right on the fly if you wanted to. Are you seeing are you seeing the strategy?
We are now. Actually, what happened is I think the chart froze, and then all of a sudden it popped over to the end of it, and your cursor's up.
Okay. So anyway, this is how you could have done it on the fly up here at any point in time. We'll go ahead and reload it, and hopefully it took us out up here, and it did. That's how you exercise money management. That's how you exercise nicely green. Turn off the machine. Anytime you reach a goal like this is a great opportunity. Now, if you're real aggressive, we're coming down into this area again. This is worth the shot. I'd like to see it come down and just see you've got support here. I'd like to see it come down right up into this area and maybe even take it out by a tick or two and then pop back up. That's the kind of trade now that I would be looking for at this time of the day. Right now, this is shaping up pretty well for that 9:15 double asterisk high energy time. It will negate it if we pull down here and drop precipitously. Okay, if we start to get a nice roll move here, then you're going to think twice about taking that. But if we're just in here chopping, should be good. All right, so that's it, and that shows some of the newer features of the breakout version 7A that went out yesterday. That new feature includes now the deep probe entry. This is a deep probe entry here, and you've got another one up in here. Those are the two deep probe entries. You didn't really have one here until right here off the trend change. So it's a good way to go, good way to approach it, and I think you can see there you've got two different strategies that you can use to approach high energy times and major reports. Both of them work well. The regular breakout's a little bit quicker because it's going to have faster algorithms in there. Stealth is a little slower, so it's a little steadier. It's just whatever you like. And of course, this feature that I'm showing, and there's nothing wrong with this feature either, is using the trend filter, which in this case is set to the 12 as your main guidance. So there's no need to toggle guidance on and off. It'll automatically take it. And by the way, we do have a video out on this for everybody who's got the Pro package. That's video number 2 that talks about all the various entries in here. And today, video 1 will be coming out, which will go over all of the other parameters, you know, the basic parameters like trading times, stops, profit targets, all of those. That'll be going out today too. Okay, that's what I wanted to show. Maybe took a little bit more time than I wanted to, but I don't think we missed anything. Shall we transition back over to you, Charles? Or
yeah, absolutely. I'm getting ready to do that right now. Stand by. Getting ready to flip right about now. Okay. Coming over. To screen 1. Should see screen 1. I've got quite a few charts to show today, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on EMD because we talk about EMD all the time, and Rich spent a lot of time showing the auto trader charts. The one thing I wanted to show here, though, because I was Skyping with a few folks here. I think I should be in Sim. Yeah, I am. I close that out. There was some question over here about the short entry early in the morning, and I want to talk about that because the auto trader was already short over in here, and I think Rich showed that it got a little bit of a head fake, and I want to show how you could have avoided that a little bit here. Can you see the consolidation area in here between basically 29? This is the pre-market area assessment we talked about. Support at 29 and resistance up here at this 33.50, 34 area. Remember that, everybody? Right around the open. Here's Gary and Rich open the room at 6 o'clock over here. 6:30 is right here. This was the high energy time right here. Kind of right in there somewhere. And so, I don't know why he keeps doing this. But, yeah, so you were basically kind of in a little 40-tick range here, okay? You're in a little 40-tick range. You had swings up here, support down here. We called out 29. Now, it actually blasted through 29 pretty quickly. You pretty much had to either have the auto trader take this, like Rich showed, or you had to pretty much kind of have a line trader or a sell order kind of sitting right in here. Because it busted quick, and it really almost never looked back. It went straight down like 90 to 100 ticks. This trade alone, depending on where you got filled and where you got out, this could, on one contract could have been $800 to $900. Just that one trade right there. That could have made. Remember we were saying here around 7 o'clock that could be the one and done. Does everybody remember that? One and done at 7 o'clock because of your drop here. Now, what I want to show is this: you rolled over, you got a little bit of a double bottom here. Then you got this huge bounce. Now, you probably didn't catch this bounce because it was so fast. There was short covering here, a little bit of buying kicking in, and then you got a little retracement, and then you had these nice long trades to the upside like this. Now, what I'm trying to show is this. Even if you missed this short here, there was lots of good opportunity after 7 o'clock to catch some follow-on trades to the upside. Now, you can see what's happening here. We're coming down a little bit to a line in the sand, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time at the tail end of the chart because I got 3 other charts to show. But I want to show this. This is something we show all the time in the webinars. By the way, this is 12 range guidance dots that come with the Pro package. They're very handy. And you can see in this particular case, they're coming right down to what we call this kind of line in the sand. See the support level here? So if in fact we're going to break back down and head back down, what you're going to want to see is something like this. This is the kind of price action we look for right around what we call the line in the sand. We're going to come down, test it. It doesn't always do this perfectly, but sometimes it does. You're going to possibly see a retracement up into resistance, and it should, if it's going to break, roll over and break down like such and start heading south. Those are perfect. These are nice, beautiful trade setups that we like to trade all the time. But you can start to see here what the telltale clue is that you weren't heading higher anymore. See how you weren't taking out these swings? See how you're putting in a little series of lower lows and lower highs? See them? All right. Any questions on EMD? Questions on EMD? This kind of follows on pretty much with what Rich was showing earlier on the auto trader. All right, I have a couple others to show real quick. I'm going to drag over the Russell TF. We watch this in the room. This is on a 4 with the 12 range guidance. It's going to look very similar to EMD. Of course, we have this little consolidation pocket right around the open. High energy time over here, double asterisk. We're expecting big moves. Now notice every day, it isn't every day, but right around 640, 642, 641, 645. Notice the break and the big move starts to happen right here. This is go time, guys and gals, everybody in the room here. This is go time. All right, when we say go time, we mean this is the sweet spot of trading, right between about 640 and 7:30, 8 o'clock, where we peaked out over here. You can see we just had beautiful swings. You know, you had a little pause here when you took out the line in the sand. I want to show this because a lot of times we'll get this whole, some traders will say, well, you know, Charles, this thing is falling so fast. I feel like I'm catching a falling knife and I'm like a, you know, like a deer in the headlights. This thing is ripping down. What do I do to get in? Well, when you see these little pauses like this, see how it just plows through the guidance dots here? And then you get like a little pause. You see like 3 to 5 minutes. You get like a little pause. What you want to do is come in here and take your line trader, which is one of the tools in the Pro package. You position it right at the break, and then boom, she gets you in right as soon as she breaks. And the thing that's nice about line trader is that it deploys the targets, it puts in the stops, it manages all the stops. Instead of manually dragging your stop down, and getting taken out, line trader handles all that for you. It's perfect. Here again, we bounce, V-shaped bottom, come up, hit a little resistance pocket, roll over, get a deep probe. It's called a deep probe when they turn red. Yellow bar probes when it's yellow. Deep probe when it turns red. You're still looking for a long trade here. You're looking for a resumption of buying in an uptrend. So that's what we say all the time. You want to swim with the river, right? You want to go in the direction of the flow. And if the market's bounced and heading up, you're looking for long trades off of probes. Your final one was over here just shortly after 8 o'clock, this last yellow bar probe, when it did a final thrust up just shy of the 694 mark. Yeah, there might be a couple of different backgrounds running on here. I think it's because I have the guidance dots and I have another background. So you might see different shades of red and green. What I'm focusing on here, though, and I want to say this in the hot zone, when it's 6:40 to 7:30, 8 o'clock, this is the sweet spot of making money in the day on the equities. Okay, I'm going to drag over a YM chart. We've had some traders ask about YM as an alternative to NASDAQ, since NASDAQ has been a little choppy here lately. Very similar chart, a little bit divergent in that you're not seeing the big swings to the downside on the YM. This is the mini Dow, $5 a tick. Here we had a little consolidation pocket on the left here. This is pre-market. You can see our swing highs and our swing lows. You get a nice little break, pop, boom, couple of little shorts. Here's what I want to show on the bounce. Nice clean bounce up here. Here was your thrust. Now, the interesting thing on YM here is you didn't get much of a retrace off of the thrust. You got a little pullback in here where you could have got in and a little pullback here. What I'm trying to show is this, is that when you're in a strong uptrend like this, and it's thrusting like this, you can patiently wait for some type of pullback into support. And Gary is really good at showing this in the room and taking these trades all the time. See how you thrust, pull back, thrust, pull back. These are all opportunities to get long, these little retracements. See how they pull right into stealth? You get support, right to stop dots. See it pulling right in there? See it pulling right in here? You don't have to feel like a deer in the headlights, like, oh, man, I'm missing this. Look, it's run 50 ticks, 40, 56. We don't know. I mean, when this thing's going up at the time, of course, we don't really know how far it's going to go. In this particular case, it ran like a big dog all the way back up, taking out this resistance level here. I do have one last chart to show. Any questions on YM? I know I'm moving quickly because I got 4 charts here today. By the way, we're going to do screenshots of these. We've been sending out those with emails along with these video recaps. I don't know if anybody likes those. If you do, we'll keep doing them. These little recaps, we send those out in the mornings. They're like little recordings where we recap these trades plus all the charts. We attach those screenshots. If anybody likes those, we'll keep doing them. We attach those to emails. Let me get a crude oil chart up here. Greg L saying, yeah, Luke, yes, they're good. Keep them coming. We look at them every day. Well, they're intended to be instructional. I mean, we got a lot of folks that are on free trials coming in, still kind of learning. We have folks that just come in and join us. They just sign up. They're still kind of learning the setups a little bit. Folks kind of learning the pro package, all the tools that are in there, and the auto traders. And so, it may seem a little daunting at first when you come in because there's so much to it. But I think that you see after you put this on a few charts and you start watching it, the trades are here, particularly on a roller coaster day like today. Now, crude oil isn't for everybody. Gary is very good at trading crude oil. Rich, those guys, especially right here at 6 o'clock. This is the pit open here. We normally get very nice moves right out of the gate. Here we get a beautiful pop up on oil right out of the chute here. And then one thing I want to show here on crude oil. This is a good testament to the watching the price action early. Notice how right in this area right here, right around 6:30 or so, here again, this is double asterisk, high energy time, kind of right in here, that you start to not really take out those swings. See how you're putting in kind of a series of lower highs and lower lows? This was a telltale sign right in here that you probably weren't going to take this out. And by the way, this was ironically about the same time that the equity started to roll and break. Remember? All the equities rolled and broke down here. 642, 643, kind of right in here. And the other thing I want to show on this break with these boxes, and here again we'll do a screenshot so you can see this. You can look at it on your desktop. Notice how with crude oil you get these little pops. See how it does a thrust and a retrace, thrust and a retrace, thrust and a retrace. If you're of the mind to trade crude oil and you learn how this moves with these little swings like this, you don't have to be intimidated to get in here, all right? You just simply wait for a nice retracement, pull up to resistance area, up to resistance, up to resistance, and of course you put your stop just above these trailing stop dots. Or you position your line trader to get in at a break. Either way. Both very good ways to get in. Position the line trader here, market comes through it, boom, you're filled, and it basically manages the trade. Perfect. Here we come down just like the equities, boom, boom, 7 o'clock, put in a little V-shaped bottom, thrust up. You don't have to feel like you're chasing this. And when it bounces like this, a lot of traders are like, wow, this thing's bouncing and running, Charles. I feel like I'm missing this. Well, look what it does here. Boom, comes right up to this little resistance swing right here. Perfect. 86.15, I think it was. I'm not certain. I think Gary might have called this trade. And then it broke up. Just a textbook breakout. Boom, right through resistance. Up she goes. Up she goes, up she goes. And then you had kind of, interestingly enough, you had kind of a series of really nice little probe trades here. See how you thrust, pull back to 86.40. Boom, fresh push up, yellow bar probe trade. Boom, yellow bar probe. You had like a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in a row. And then, of course, it came all the way back to the almost to the swing high here up near 87.10. Just beautiful, just textbook moves on crude oil today. But here again, if crude's a little too, it's pretty fast. It's $10 a tick. If it's a little pricey and too quick for you, then you might want to look at other instruments that aren't so pricey and fast. But if you can use line trader, or you can turn the auto trader on and watch it and take some of these nice probies, by all means, you can step in there and take some oil trades. It makes good money most mornings. In fact, here you just had a breakout. Did you take this, Gary?
No, but I took NASDAQ.
Smack a
Got in at 2327.50. Got 10 points on it.
Holy
I'll show it here in just a minute.
Yeah. Wow, look at this.
That line in the sand was fantastic.
I loved it. I watched that hammer form, and I mean they shot it after that. I had to hit market order and got 4 contracts, and it's up about 760.
See, now there's a case, Gary, you're right on the money. You watched it retrace, started to bounce, boom, you pull the trigger. I'm sure you're going to show this in a second. And then, boom, you get filled. You can't be shy about it. When the market's moving, if you're going to trade it, right, you got to get in and trail your stop accordingly. Or, you could position your line trader here, drag it back, boom, it fills, and then off it goes. So this is crude oil. Wow, they all shot up. Here's YM. Look at this. Never even touched the line in the sand. Did a little consolidation pocket. Boom, up she went.
TF came right back and kissed the line of sand, took off. EMD, I had mentioned it earlier, came within a couple of ticks of the line of the sand.
Sweet.
I mean, just a great trade. They don't always work. They don't always work, but a lot of times they do.
Yeah, be careful at 2340 on NASDAQ because we've got a major resistance line drawn there.
We want to flip over and show that trade real quick, Gary, and then we can wrap?
Sure.
Okay.
I would, if we're going to continue like this, I would have some serious reservations about that 9:15 high energy time. I know it's double asterisk, but what we always condition it if we could have a move of a continuation like this off the original high energy time, it's going to tend to suppress it. So I would seriously think about passing on that one with this type of movement. Or, you know, we're going to get into more consolidation, I think, after this.
Everybody see my screen now?
Yep.
I was just sitting here watching this puppy, and I meant to grab it right here. I was watching this come down, you know, came through my dots and shot it and formed a hammer. And I mean, it was here before I could even hit the market order. So I hit market order, you know, as it was just plowing up here and just basically managing the trade right now. We just took out this swing over here at 36.75. So we're watching it right across here. And there's our next stop on the bus right there at 40. Let's see if it's going to go any higher. Remember, we called this area at 40. That's when it started breaking down from this. And let's see if it comes up. We got another swing right here at the bottom of trading range. See right here? We'll go ahead and draw a line there because I'll bet you it hits its head here for a little bit. Let's just see if it does. There's 2340. That's a cowbell. You could just click the close and you got a $1,000 bill. Boom, you're done. Or you can just ride the trade. And of course then you would want to look at your 4 range. Let's go ahead and do our 4 range over here. Here's our 4 range. And say we got a little swing right here at 2335.50. We could actually bring our stop just right around there, maybe a tick or two under it, like that. And then just see if we can get the rest of this trade. So far, it's taken out 40. I mean, one thing about it, trading doesn't get any better than this. I don't know, you know, I've personally been in trading rooms for many years as far as that goes. And, you know, we've tried to develop a system that everybody can bank some green coin just literally every day in the markets. And if you learn the system, you can do it. See that probe trade even on oil? I didn't even get it. I was too busy watching my NASDAQ.
Gary, we had a question. The question was for, say, for smaller accounts, say with $500, you know, margin. Most brokers have like $500 day trade margin. What are some good markets to trade on a one contract basis for the European sessions? And so the list that I would suggest, and you guys can add to this if I've missed anything, would be 6B, the dollar index. Now, the day trade margin may be a little bit bigger on these following 2 contracts. The CAC 40, which is over on the Matif, that might be set at 1,000, but that's okay. And the FGBL, those are some really nice contracts that trade, and of course you can trade the NQ at that time as well. So and the YM. So those are some markets right now that you can trade. You know, for smaller accounts, for smaller margins, they have less risk, and of course you're going to make less, but you know, when you get a stop out, it'll be less as well. So, did I miss anything on that list? Other than Forex, of course. You know, Forex is a different animal. We're talking about futures now.
Did you say the Bund?
Yes, I did. The Bund, the FGBL. So the CAC 40, the FGBL, the YM, the NQ, And the dollar index.
6B.
6B, right. And we're still going higher in the equities.
Yeah, bulls really turned the cash markets around. The Dow was down 100 points at one point. Now it's up 75.
And see if you want to protect a lot of your coins. See how this is making a little fresher, higher lows here? You know, you could even put your stop just literally just underneath this previous swing. You know, protect a lot of your coin. I mean, you know, money's money, right? See how it just came up through our line, kind of coming down to test it again, 12 range bar. Pops up again. Stick with the trade. See it?
You know, Marco also added in here the Euro Stocks 50. Now, I haven't traded that in quite a while, Marco, but that is a good one. What is the symbol on that through Zenfire? Do you know? And I'll go. We'll take a look at it again. Oh, the FESX. Yeah. Okay. FESX. That's a little bigger tick contract, though. I believe. I believe the minimum tick on that's 1250 euros. Is that correct? 10 euros. Okay. Minimum tick is 10 euros. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
See how it pays to draw your lines on your charts? This line was drawn at 697.30 for some reason on TF, and we can go over here to the left and find out why. Looks like it was a major area of support at the time, and amazingly just nailed it. Let's pull them back a little bit, but see, you're still not out of the trade. You've still got excellent, you know, upside potential as long as this thing doesn't just go ahead and take out previous swings. But always be watching for resistance areas that give up the ghost, and don't give up too much of your trade. You can see, for instance, we showed Line Trader today just trading, you know, 20 tick per contract and just jumping in trade after trade and racking up, you know, 3,000 or better. You know, same thing with NASDAQ right here. See how you've got a swing right here at this 39.50? If they take that out, they're going to definitely come down. Well, never definitely, but they should come down and test this swing at 38. Well, I'm not going to give them that much because that's already given up 4 points. See there where they're just testing it, trying to bounce? Did bounce so far. Still in it, but it's not looking as promising like it's going to go up here and tag this bottom of trading range just as of yet, unless this 12 range bar pops up here. And that's what I'm watching for. See your 4 range, 12 range is getting a little hammer so far. The whole thing is you just got to basically just sit and watch your charts. You know, if you're out of a trade, you know, then don't jump back in on a thrust. Like for instance, if you would have gotten, let's say that you saw oil when we were saying, wow, look at oil run, and you would have grabbed it here, well, guess what? You've already retraced all the way down to here. So don't grab a thrust, grab a retrace. And so you can see the support's right down here, for instance, on oil. And if it comes down there and tags that, then, you know, maybe that's a good area. If it takes out this resistance area at 85, that might be a good area. But once you run out of trading, so to speak, you know, when you start losing on your contracts, then you know they're going to chop you up. Right now, our NASI trade is still heading up. See the hammer candle? Beautiful hammer, as a matter of fact, on that one. Let me just show it to you. See that hammer candle right there? Now they call that a hangman when it's in the long like this, because this could easily reverse now. But see how it just came within a couple of ticks of that bottom of trading range? So we're going to raise our stop just a little bit, just underneath this 12 range bar. And then the trade should finish out. I mean, this thing could go, we don't know. This thing could go all the way to here. Nobody knows. It's just how high the market decides to take it. And what your job as a trader is to glean as much out of the trade and feel as little pain in the first part of your trade also. You know, time those entries, time those exits, and you'll make money every day. All right, Charles, I think we're pretty much done. This is actually doing a typical, see how you hit this high and you barely took it out? That's more than likely going to retrace now, so I may just go ahead and kill it, because you see this all the time when you're trading. You just barely took that out, so you got kind of a little box right here. As long as it stays above stealth, I'm going to stay with it. But if it pops to the bottom of this box, I'm out. I'd like to get a really nice trade, but we'll see. There it's going above it. Still good to go. Just barely touched stealth. Getting a yellow bar probe on the EMD too. And oil. Man, these markets are all over the place today. There's your cowbell, by the way. I may just hit close. See it? Just hit top of trading, bottom of trading range, right on the money. Hit our little line that we had drawn. That's a good area. Just hit close, bank the 1,200 bucks. Or stick with the trade, maybe with the stop just below stealth, just in case it pulls back. Because usually when they hit those resistance areas, they're going to pull back some. And why give them 30 or 40 ticks? Because they may go for that, right? Strong move so far, though. See how it's just kissing stealth. But see how you've already given up some of your trade? That was up 1,300 and some odd dollars. Could have clicked the button right there. All right. I think I'm going to click the button, as a matter of fact. If this goes ahead and pops up again, see how it took out that little swing just a little bit right there at 41 1/4? If this candle closes to the downside, I'm going to click out. As long as it hammers up, I'm going to stay with it. Try to get that 1,300 again. Just right at the top of the box. Out of the box. Good deal. 1,300 again. 1,320. Trying to take out bottom of trading range. See if it will. 23.44.50. We're going to bring our stop just down below 23.40.75. See why you don't give up on them so quickly? You know, see, we intelligently looked at this and said, okay, well, this is a low here. See how it's still heading up? Blue bars. And we'll watch it right here. And if it takes us out, it takes us out. But we're not going to give up as much of this trade by, let's see, 23.41. Yeah, we're close enough. 23.41. See how they're coming down to hammer it? They're probably going to take me. Should have took my 1,400. Just hit that resistance area and pounded back, didn't they? So you could just click close. Okay. We don't have a webinar tonight. Everybody enjoy their day.
Gary, we had a couple questions on the bunt. Let me just show that.
Luke
had asked it, and a couple others said, you know, what autos for the bunt. Let me just whip over and show it. You know, we talk about it. So, and
for new people in the room, you need to do the quacker. Called the 3-duck trade. Had several people ask for it.
Well, all right, we'll do that at the end here.
All right,
just one break.
We like to have quackers with our soup.
Are you showing? Are we showing the bunt here?
We are.
Okay, so this is the stealth. This is one of the ones that we like on the bunt. This is trading the stealth. This is trading 2 contracts, and it's the stealth entry and the regular. Now, Marco had mentioned, and a couple of other members had mentioned who trade the European sessions. Just to reiterate, the FGBL opens a little bit earlier. It actually opens at 2300 Pacific time. So you can start trading at 5 minutes right after that. It's got good volume. A lot of times you get some really nice big moves off that, and you can see coming out of the box that's what it did. So trading starting at 2300, you were actually hitting a $1,400 goal here within the first hour and 15 minutes. You just caught a 2 beautiful trades. This thing, when it gets going, it really runs. It's a nice trending market where we've called more trades in it. We're going to follow it more, but this is a good time to trade it. So this is just using stealth standard settings and using the stealth entry and or a regular probe entry. These are both 2 stealth entries. Took one here, hit the target, and then took a second one and hit the big green. Now, you can break these up into sessions too. Let me show how to basically span the time on this. If you're going to span the time, because if you're starting, for example, at 2300, so this is showing starting at 2305, which is here. You have to go up to 2359, right? Because I'm going over midnight here. If you're in Europe, you don't have to worry about this. But when you breach the midnight and you want to continue trading, you need to do that. So you set this in here, then it's starting again at 1 minute after midnight, going to 5:15, and then if you wanted to continue to trade, you could start again at 5:35 and end at 11. So this would be after a major report today. So I'm going to turn these off and then show that as well, because with the big green in the way here, it's not going to show any more trades. But what I want to show is there's another session that you can trade in here. This is the first session, all right? And the second session is the session that I call over here, starting at 5:35. 5:35 would have basically put you right out in here, all right? So you would be looking at taking stealth trades, and I know if we turn this on, it's going to pick up a stealth trade here, right, short, and then if we're still in our window, say to 7 a.m., it's going to pick up a long trade on the stealth up to here. Let's go ahead and try to show that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to change this around. We're going to say starting at 5:35, and we're going to go to 7 a.m. All right, and of course we're going to zero all these out. All right, and if we hit apply, now we should start to pick up our trades starting here at 5:35. And indeed, here it is. Now, we got into a short trade here right off the stealth entry. We got stopped out, and I'm going to show something here in a minute because this is a really good point I want to show. We got into a second trade here, made some good money. Third trade hit our hit one profit target and then trailed off on the second, okay, up 580. But just a little bit of a change here is going to make a really big difference. And so let's talk about that. Let's go back and look at the stop settings in here, all right? A few extra ticks sometimes goes a long way. You can see your stops were here at 15, right? In my opinion, that's a little bit too tight. And if you put your auto traders up on the charts and you see this happening, okay, this should be your tip-off. You know what? Give it a few extra. Let's actually take it to 20, which I like, okay? And you know, we mentioned this in the videos. We continue to mention it. Yeah, that's going to be another $50, 50 euros more per contract. But in the long run, I believe it's going to save you a lot. So let's go ahead and reload it. Okay, and it did make quite a difference here. You went ahead and got the short entry to break even, back in another one here. Now the other thing you can do is, the other way you can work these is, a lot of times when you're getting these types of movements and you're expecting big movement, you don't necessarily want to maybe have your break-even stop on. This particular wouldn't have mattered because I see the trail stop kicked in, so you would have got out here anyway. All right, but that's something to consider. But still, all in all, you know, you were up a good 660 off of this move. So you can see, if you were to go back and look and separate the two on the trading times, we had excellent trades, both in the early session, which we showed way back here. Of course, they're gone now because we had to put this up. But we had excellent trades. Starting here, we caught a nice run up, and I can't remember what that P&L was now. I think it was around maybe 1,300, something like that. And then, of course, if you waited for the second session, right? uh, you would have had this. So all in all, pretty nice. Any questions? And that's trading stealth. That's right, Luke. Stealth is a good way to go about this. I mean, let me show the setting again here real fast on that.
Rich, while you're doing that, Luke also had a question here. If you were going to trade one contract instead of two, would it only be the runner?
Yes, it would. If you're just trading one contract instead of two, it would be the runner. This is the stealth entry here. You know, again, if you're expecting runs, that's what you want is a stealth entry. It's going to get you in nicely. Now, if you're just going to trade one contract, there's two things that you can consider. You can either go for the 80-tick profit target, or you can take a more modest target, which is 40 ticks. You know, either one of these would have made money. Okay, you're not going to make as much, obviously, as before. Let's kind of show it. Let's just show what we would have done here trading one. So let's zero that out. All right, and right now what we're trading is going to be one contract with an 80-tick profit target. All right, and one contract with an 80-tick profit target. Okay, puts you up 240. You were up close to 400 here at one point in time. Okay, up 400. Basically, it's the same trades, just managed differently. Okay. Now, you can take another conservative approach and say, okay, I want to be a little bit more modest. I'm not going to do an 80-tick. I want to do a 40-tick. I want to take a 40-tick profit target. And I'm going to show you a little trick that you may need to do here too if you're going to do that. Okay. So instead of taking 80, we're going to set this at 40. It really doesn't matter what this is because we're only trading the one quantity. Okay. Now, this is the trick that I wanted to show you in stealth. Okay. The problem is in stealth, if you're trading just a single contract and you start to get a nice big run, you see how we hit the profit target up here? Okay. You really want to turn that off at that point in time. You want to turn off your buttons so that you don't get this trade back up at the top, because what happens is if you're not trading multiple contracts with different profit targets and you come up and hit a more modest target, it's going to look to put you into a trade right again one more time. It's going to look to do that one more time. Okay. Another way that you could do this is, let me see if we can do this. If we set our daily net wins to 1, we should be able to also manage that as well. So that's another way that you can kind of get ahead of that. Let's see if we can do that. We've got a feature in here where we have daily net wins. We're going to turn that on. We're going to set that to 1. Let's see if we can get taken out of there so we don't get the second trade. No, and the reason for that is we were negated off on here. So the best thing to do, I'm going to make sure I had that set right. Yeah. The best thing to do at this point in time is when you get into this trade like this is go ahead as it starts to move up, toggle off your long entries, toggle off your short entries, and that way once it takes it out up here, it won't be looking for this second trade. Okay, any questions on that? It's very important when you're trading stealth because stealth does have this propensity. If your profit targets are more modest, okay, instead of a big runner, and you're not putting in a big green here or anything like that, it will have a tendency to put you back into the trade again, and that can be frustrating sometimes. Is there a reason to avoid the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. period on the blunt? Stephen, it really wasn't, and I think you're talking about what time zone, Stephen? What time zone would you be talking about? The Pacific, like I have here? I'm assuming that's what it is. Yes, yeah, okay. It really wasn't avoided. The time session was not avoided. It was only avoided because you had this long run and met a goal. Okay, if you hadn't had the long run like this and met the goal, then you would have continued to trade in here. Okay, you would have continued to make trades. The interesting thing is, if you're using breakout in the non-breakout mode with the trend filter, you could have been taking these deep probe trades here as well. So in other words, you had a nice big run here, and then you had a deep probe trade it would have taken here, has another deep probe it could have taken here that you scalped out for profits. Okay, and then as we started to wind down, it would have started taking them through here again. But I know you've heard both Gary and Charles talk about this, and it's the same thing, whether it's a yellow bar probe or whether it's a deep probe. The first one is generally very good. The second one is probably a little over 60%, but the third drops precipitously, and by the time you get to the fourth, it's usually not real good till you come to a line in the sand. Line in the sand, that's a nice trade. This is a great line in the sand trade here. In fact, it's textbook. Just took it out by a bar and popped right back up again. This is the hardest trade for most people to take, but if you follow the markets, you will see that a lot of times this is the most profitable. This is where they shake you out. This is where they shake a market out. And how do they do that? Just real fast, and then we're going to end this. We were in a long uptrend. We were trailing above our long-term guidance. They came right down to the line in the sand. Right? They tested it once, they bounced, they just took it out by a bar, right? So anybody who was long at this point, if they didn't get out up here, they're feeling a lot of pain, and they'll dump their contracts under here, right? Anybody who's short wants to get short, they're looking to maybe get short up in here now off this break. So you got a double whammy, and you'll see this over and over again. For a lot of times, this could have even marked the low of the move for a long time. As it was, it came up and checked the high. But if you look at the Russell, it pretty much did the same thing earlier when it did that line of sand. Came down, tested the line of sand, pretty much knocked out everybody, maybe sucked in some new shorts, and then off it went and made new contract highs. Keep following this. You'll see this over and over in the markets. Very important. If you can learn to master this trade or deal with it, that makes you a complete trader. It's hard to do, really hard to do, but it makes you a complete trader if you can do it. Okay, that's all. That's all I got to say. Gone pretty long today, didn't we?
Yeah, I just noticed we're after 9.
Oh, okay, we had the request, the 3 ducks.
There you have it.
That is for you, Michael. Well, by the way, on the NQ trade, remember we talked about intelligently getting out? That hit 1300, 1340 like 4 or 5 times. And when it came up there and clicked 1300, I just clicked the close. And by the way, it'd probably be down to around 11-ish right now. And Charles, you go over that quite a bit in the webinars, remember, where you just, you start hitting your head, you get 1300, 1400, 1350, 1300, 1280, back to 1300. You gotta see that area where you're just going to get out of the trade.
Yeah, when you see that type of price pattern, it's hitting strong resistance and not getting through it and starting to try to roll, and you can watch that P&L. It's almost screaming to go ahead and close it.
Mm-hmm.
You might leave a couple of ticks on the table, but for the most part, you're going to save sometimes 10, 12, 15 tick retrace right back in your face.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we ran over today, but I think everybody got not only a good trading day, but good lessons. It was kind of a educational trading room today.